right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Not as brisk for the weekend ahead. Why the limited rain chance likely doesn't limit your weekend plans.
Demanding action. The harsh word Senator Josh Hawley has for officials when it comes to cleanup at the Westlake landfill. But first tonight, a trip through the drive-thru ends with unauthorized charges.
One person said that this overdrew their account.
Customers out hundreds of dollars after paying for their food. The warning from police. Customers who visited a Wentzville Wendy's over the last week need to check their accounts. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush, and Allred has the night off. Police are warning that people may have fraudulent charges. 5 on your side, Laura Barczewski explains what to look for. Laura?
Well, Mike, police say the unauthorized charge would have appeared anywhere from a few minutes to even a day after going through the Wentzville Wendy's drive-thru. And while police do have a suspect in custody, they believe there could be more victims. Wentzville police say in the span of about a week, nearly a dozen people found fraudulent charges on their bank statements after visiting the Wendy's off Wentzville Parkway on West Pierce Boulevard.
So there were several customers that had, say, a $12 food charge or $14 and some change. But then just moments after they left Wendy's, they noticed a charge for $200.
One woman who wanted to remain anonymous to protect her identity says the charge showed up a whole day after the Wendy's charge.
I was going through the charges for October, and I asked them, I go, what is this $200 charge? And it said something like precious clot is what it came through as, and it was one of those Square charges.
Square is a program often used by small businesses or independent sellers with the ability to swipe credit cards on a cell phone. The victims found each other through a Facebook post, all of them sharing they had charges for the same amount under a similar name.
Those are personal accounts, and with the holidays coming, there are people like, I don't have, like one person said that this overdrew their account. So that was concerning, and I feel sorry for people because guess who suffered from this? All of us victims suffered. We had to take time out of our day to deal with it. We had to call the banks. We had to get new debit cards ordered.
Police say these scams can happen anywhere, and it's important right now to keep an eye on what's coming out of your bank account.
I would say maybe don't use the card that's linked to where your income source is. A lot of times a debit card will be where someone accepts their paycheck into their account. So maybe use a credit card because sometimes that offers a little bit more protection.
The victim says the Wendy's managers she spoke with said they do not condone this, but there was not much they could do on their end since it didn't directly go through Wendy's systems. I reached out to Wendy's for comment, but did not hear back yet. If this has happened to you, Wentzville police want you to call them right away at 636-639-2126 and bring in a copy of that bank statement or send a screenshot of that fraudulent charge. Mike.
It felt like December the past couple of days, but it looks like we are getting a bit of a warm-up just in time for the first weekend of November. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell has a first look at the Weather First forecast.
Yeah, the Weather First forecast is actually a pretty decent one for this weekend. Remember last Saturday and Sunday, we had the cold air in here, temperatures in the 40s. It was damp, it was dreary, it was brisk, breezy. Well, we're going to have some clouds this weekend, but it's a lot warmer. Here's how it started on this Thursday with the sun rising over St. Louis early this morning. Yes, it was still chilly. Some of us were down into the 20s. Many of us, though, started this morning in the 30s. That's not a bad deal. And with all that sunshine through the course of the day, we saw those temperatures bounce and do so pretty quickly. We actually topped out at 65. This is how it ended this evening in Florissant with the sun setting under, again, a mostly clear sky. Wish we could keep that mostly clear sky into the weekend. Sadly, that's not going to be the case. We'll keep it into tomorrow. Temperatures tonight dropping back into the 40s and 50s. As we look ahead towards the weekend, we bring the clouds back into St. Louis. There's a warming trend this weekend. Clouds are returning tomorrow night into Saturday, but limited rain chances. We'll talk more about that and just how warm it gets in a few minutes, Mike.
Scott, thanks. Clean it up now. Those were some of the stern words Missouri Senator Josh Hawley had today for the Environmental Protection Agency. Hawley is demanding the federal officials finally clean up radioactive contamination at the Westlake landfill in Bridgeton. Our Robert Townsend is here now with more on Hawley's fiery message.
Mike, today a clearly frustrated Senator Josh Hawley made his comments during a hearing with the EPA in Washington.
For decades now, this has been going on. For decades, and it's not cleaned up at all.
Senator Hawley is talking about the radioactive waste from World War II that was dumped at the Westlake landfill in Bridgeton between July and October of 1973. Now, today he told the EPA, quote, working class people who live in the area have been dying for years from cancer and other autoimmune diseases due to the contamination. Hawley says the federal government continues to ignore the problem.
Go look at the cancer rates in the St. Louis region, you'll find them off the charts. You go look at breast cancer for women in particular in the St. Louis region, you'll find it is the leading center of it in the nation. In the nation. This has got to stop. And we need the EPA to clean this site up.
In May, EPA officials said their research shows the radioactive waste is mostly contained to a 200-acre site at Westlake landfill. Now, they did not say anything about any previous exposure or health risks created by the site. At that time, the EPA also said it would move to pre-cleanup work that would take months, and once that's done, the cleanup will begin at that contaminated site.
Board of Aldermen President Megan Green is suing the city. The suit is over how the city handled the Jason Stockley protest. Green filed the suit 5 years ago, but is now moving the suit from federal court to state court. Green claims police used excessive force, and she and other protesters were tear gassed in the Central West End in 2017. Green's attorney calls the move strategic.
The case law on First Amendment claims has changed over the last few years. There are things within federal court that allow these cases to drag on for years.
The city of St. Louis has already paid out about $10 million in settlements to people who say they were the victims of excessive force and were wrongfully arrested during the protests. 2 teens are now facing multiple charges in connection to an attempted carjacking in Ladue. It happened around 4 on Wednesday afternoon on Ladue Ridge Road. Police say they spotted the suspect's minivan around 9:30 in Jennings, but when they tried to pull it over, the driver took off. After the van crashed, police say the teens took off running. Officers eventually arrested the 14 and 15-year-old. They are charged with assault and endangering the welfare of a child. Students in Soulard do not want new neighbors. They protested today against 2 proposed marijuana dispensaries moving in, one right across the street. Students from Lift for Life Academy came out with their signs and their voices. Kind Goods and Good Day Farm have plans to open nearby, but students say there is no place there for the dispensary. Missouri state law requires dispensaries to be 1,000 feet away from schools, but St. Louis opted out of the law in 2020.
What are we teaching our kids? What are we showing the kids? Marijuana is normal. I get that it's legal, but kids shouldn't be seeing that every single day.
If it's drugs, either way it goes. We really don't want nothing close to here, but we'll try to make the stands here.
Alderwoman Kara Spencer says she will look into how other cities have handled distance requirements, and she's allocating $1 million in American Rescue Plan funding towards studying zoning issues across the city. Tonight, health leaders in both St. Louis and St. Louis County are sounding the alarm. They're seeing growing cases of sexually transmitted illnesses, and they're afraid it's having an impact on newborns. 5 on Your Side's Brent Solomon is live downtown, where officials say there's work to be done to get more resources to pregnant women. Brent.
Well, health leaders say over the past couple of years, nearly 5 dozen children have been born with syphilis. That's more cases than in the previous 2 decades combined. Health leaders say it should serve as a wake-up call.
Where you have one STI, there's always the chance that you're going to have another STI.
That's why Suzanne Alexander with the St. Louis Health Department says now is the time to act. City and county leaders putting out a health alert Thursday. Increased incidence of HIV and syphilis co-infection. They're concerned people are catching the diseases, aren't being tested or treated, putting newborns at risk.
The longer that she's had syphilis and no prenatal care, the more at risk her baby is.
On the low end of the scale, it can lead to this.
Mild neurocognitive delay. We might be looking at some bone issues, weaknesses, or abnormal growths.
At the worst level, babies
might also be born with substance use disorders themselves.
Health leaders tell me there are laws on the books in other states that Missouri doesn't have that could help.
And Missouri does not have a mandate to test in the 3rd trimester. They test at delivery. By then it's too late to treat the cause of congenital syphilis.
On the flip side, she says getting treatment to a mother with syphilis early could result in her child being born without the illness.
One of the very easiest things we could do is start testing all pregnant moms in that 3rd trimester. Then we need to make sure that every pregnant person in the city of St. Louis has access to prenatal care where they are, meaning we meet them where they are.
Now, health leaders are trying to work through the barriers that keep people from getting tested, such as the stigma, transportation, or child care issues. One idea they're looking at, creating more mobile nurses. You can read that entire public health alert right now on KSDK.com. Mike.
Brent, thanks. A new health center is coming to North St. Louis County. Athena Healthcare cut the ribbon today on its $7.5 million facility in Ferguson. It's part of a partnership with the Emerson YMCA. The new center will feature 23 exam rooms, 4 dental operation systems, 2 behavioral health and substance use disorder exam rooms. Athena is hoping to close the gap on healthcare deserts, and they will also have midwives on site.
That's how we make generational change. We have wraparound services, and we do believe that midwifery and nursing, healthcare is part of the solution to celebrating Black life.
2 of the facility's doctors also grew up in the area.